Everybody, I'm back again. This is Prophet Don Heron. Have you noticed the title of this message was I Am a Prophet? Because I've watched your videos for a long time, for many years on videos, and I see people come out and just, their claim is to be a prophet. But you just, they don't say I'm a prophet because they've been taught by a lot of the pastors and teachers and scholars and everybody on video that prophets don't exist. I got to know that. Why would I say I'm a prophet and I know that you're there telling me, and your next answer is going to be, there are no prophets. Prophets don't exist no more. Apostles don't exist no more. See, I'm not listening. Then don't listen. That's not a problem. This is how this is supposed to go. I didn't want to be a prophet any more than anyone else, but that's one of the signs. Prophets don't want the job. I got to know what comes with this title by saying that. I've seen prophets before. I've heard the title prophet before. But let me help you understand what a prophet is, and this is the reason why. Because sometimes I put up a video recently, and somebody responded by saying, "How do you know you're a prophet?" Let me say this: that's not a bad question. I can't be mad at the guy that says, that asked me that and go, you got your nerves asking me. No, that's what's wrong with this whole system. People want to take titles and not explain why they are what they are. I don't care if they're an apostle. They don't have to agree with anybody that says they're not an apostle. So you disagree with them. That doesn't stop them from continuing to use that title and continue to live their life saying I'm an apostle. Whether you think they're false or not. Some people don't see themselves as false apostles or false prophets or any of that. So they're going to continue to do their messages, or they're going to continue to use that title despite what you think. That's part of what you must understand. It's the same thing with the prophet. A prophet is called to be a prophet. One of the reasons that I say that a lot of people say that there are no prophets because they've never been called to be one. Okay, when you haven't called to be one, then you can just sit there, and it's easy for everybody and their mother to sit there and just read a book and go through, well, the apostle is supposed to be this, and they go through the Deuteronomy thing, and you read, matter of fact, let me read that Deuteronomy. It's in Deuteronomy. Everybody goes to the same place. Well, I got to know that if I say I'm a prophet, but it's not fair. What I'm saying, listen to me. It's not fair to say you're a prophet, apostle, bishop, or anything else and not know what that means. We don't know what it means. We just take the title and run with it. And everybody shows up at our churches. And when the church falls apart, when some new person takes a new title, no, that don't exist no more because you've been reading books. So the book, yes, is there. I got to acknowledge that it's there. It says in Deuteronomy 13, if there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign and a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes to pass of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. He says, and you should not listen to his words, or that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is only testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice. And you shall serve him and hold fast to him. But that prophet or that dreamer of dreams that shall be put to death because he has spoken in order to turn others away from the Lord. This is okay, that makes sense. That's because it's Old Testament. You're not going to get people being stoned anymore because why? Jesus died for these things and these faults and these mistakes that everybody are making, these false prophecies, and everybody's a false prophet. I understand that. That's going to come with the territory. We all got to know that. So you see me that way. That's fine. I've got to know that already. But I read the scripture and I understand what it said. I understand why you can call Marcus Rogers, me, anybody else, everybody a false prophet. Okay, but I haven't prophesied anything just yet. But I'm going to later on in another video. Right now we need to understand what a prophet even is. So hadn't anybody else put up a video about what a prophet is? Now I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna prophesy this. After I say this message, Dad, you're gonna start seeing people start asking, saying, putting up videos, a prophet. Oh yeah, they got all these videos out there, but not a one of them went to the ones about what a prophet is. Everybody just saying what a prophet is not. You ain't no prophet. The Bible says you got to be out, but you never said what a prophet was. Now I expect everybody to go to their study manuals and commentaries and YouTubes and do your research. Now, videos will come up. What is a prophet? A prophet is a person that's, and a prophet in the Bible says, but you wasn't doing it at first. So I'm saying I'm a prophet because because I tell you why. So what makes me a prophet? Let me answer that question. Because only God can call a person to be a prophet. Let me run that by you again. Only God can call a person to be a prophet. You're waiting on your bishop or somebody that you know, your little cousin, your friend, or somebody to validate a prophet. You can't do it. They can't do it. Prophet, you don't go to school and get a degree and come out. Here's my certificate. I'm gonna have a certificate, and I'm an official prophet. See my certificate. Then he walks across the stage. No, they don't even have those degrees. Those are the kind of degrees you have to make up. That's why that's so hard to tell when people are prophet, and you have to sit and watch what they do or how they behave. They don't give certificates or degrees of prophecy. At none of the schools. You don't go to school and I'm going to walk across the stage with my prophetic degree. It's a subject you can take. You get degrees in other things, apologetics and all these other titles. That's what makes it so hard when God has called that prophet. And God has to be the person to send that prophet. That's why it talks about some prophets, they just went and in the book of Jeremiah saying, I didn't call them. God says, I didn't call them. There's another one in, I think, Deuteronomy. We should also consider about the one in, Deuteronomy 18, where it talks about the Lord said, I will raise up a prophet like me from your midst, like Moses, saying like Moses. It says, let's just go to 17. And the Lord said to me, what they have spoken is good. I will raise up from you a prophet like you from among their brethren, and I will put my words in his mouth. Okay. And he shall speak to them all that I command. Okay. Let's turn over. Let's get this last part because I don't want to read. It says in verse 20, words which I speak in my name, and I will require it of him. Okay, that means he has to be responsible for what he says. Okay, and that's why, so I can understand why you can feel like a person is not a prophet. Because a lot of people want to be prophets, but don't want to be responsible for what they say. So somehow I can't just say I'm a prophet. I have to be responsible for what I say. Always remember, you don't have to be responsible. So you can say and call a person anything you want to call them, but it's on them to have to deal with the issue of what happens or the judgment that comes with that. Okay? And so, so let's keep reading. But in verse 20, but the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of another God, that prophet shall die. Okay. It says, 21, and if you say in your heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? It says, 22, when a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not happen or come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously, and you shall not be afraid of that prophet. All right, one verse they say we're going to kill him, others you shall not be afraid of him. Okay, so listen. At this New Testament time, you shall not be afraid of the prophet. I can understand why anybody would want to attack anyone or call someone a false prophet that seems to say, well, God said it. Or thus said the Lord. I took prophecy classes and took quite a few, and I have a lot of prophecy information. And I studied prophecy for years. That's why I haven't been on YouTube or all these things, and I could have done that, but the Lord held me back. So now it's time, because I got to know how you feel about me. I know that coming on this thing. How do I know how you're going to feel about a prophet? Again, let me just back up. I'm a prophet because God has called me to be a prophet. Not man, not somebody, not the pastor, not your bishop, not my bishop. He can't lay hands on me and declare me a prophet. That's not necessary. I have to do that on my own. I have to go on and go forth on my own, make my own mistakes and prophecies foretell or whatever, foretell predictions, whatever I feel like that God has given me to say. But I should be careful about what I say and think what I say before I say it. See, that's the key. So if you go to someone and you try to figure out, well, Marcus Rogers, let's say Marcus is a false prophet. Let's call him that. I struggle, and I understand, because here's another thing. There are a lot of false prophets out there. Why does he get to be the chief false prophet, King of Kings and Lord of Lords of false prophecy? Well, I said that. Y'all know I don't mean no Lord, Lord, like I knew Jesus. You're going to probably take that and run with it. That's too bad. But you put him at the top of the list. That man, like I said before, I've said it before, he started out at some table not knowing he hasn't studied prophecy. He hasn't even taken time right now. He's going on because the momentum is there. But I had to say my mistakes I made on the backside. The Lord would not let me come forth because most prophets have to be trained by God to be a prophet, and it takes time. You just don't. I wanted to jump out there and say a whole bunch of things, but when I realized some things that I was about to say, I would have become as embarrassed as any other prophet. And the Lord said, "Don't move, don't move, don't move," and I didn't move. So Marcus Rogers he was already there, but there is a calling on his life. He is not a prophet. Let me just say that. But none of us should say, would actually say, God told me because this is what has happened. This is what has happened. Let me explain to you what's happened. When Marcus has been talking all this time, yes, he did. Yeah, he was out there walking in the things, and he said that, God showed him that Trump would win that first time he won. So there's something there. What happens a lot of times, when you get your first thought of prophecy right, you begin to feel like, oh, I must be a prophet then. Hey, I said that. So the next time something comes up big, you predict that next thing. And then it fails. Why does that fail? That fails because now that you feel like you're onto something. But what happens is, when you haven't taken the time, because I've been there. But like I said, I made my mistakes offline. He's making his mistakes on. You don't have to agree with me. That's another thing we're going to get this done today. You don't have to agree with the prophet, not most times. But when you see someone like Marcus, the key to his problems is that he has a prophetic calling on his life, but that prophetic calling is the spirit of a prophet. I'm going to start out with the spirit of a prophet, but biblically, some people came right into it just as a straight up prophet. And they went and had to go prophesy immediately. If you look at the Old Testament, they prophesied immediately. But sometimes now we have to realize that in the book like with Eli and Samuel had to be trained. He just couldn't walk out there and just, I'm a prophet. He had to take time to learn what a prophet was. And this is something maybe Marcus hasn't done. And he needs to maybe slow down and get that part straight. He doesn't have to do anything if he doesn't want to. You don't have to believe anything if you don't want to. Okay, but that's all we got to understand. When we die in these coffins and we go before the Lord, guess who's going? Not all of us that's online. You talking about this person, you're saying he's not a this, well, you're going to answer for what you say. I'm going to answer for what I say. And he's going to answer for what he says. And that one's going, we're not going to jump in the same coffin. Let's be straight. So whatever you say, you're not going to always persuade a person by your constant criticism of that person. Okay? And certainly you're not going to do it with a prophet. Now, let me explain to you why that is, so you can understand what a prophet. If I said I'm a prophet, I said it, for a very specific reason. I had the book right here, but I'm going to turn to it again so can I get to it right quick without going through a lot. We need to know what is a prophet. And you asked me what makes a person a prophet. Let me go to that. Come on, my book of Jeremiah. If any of you guys know the book of Jeremiah, you understand that the Lord has told him he's been called to be a prophet from the womb. Am I correct? He said he's called him to be a prophet from the womb. Give me 1 second. It's Nehemiah. And I can't believe I don't see that one. Come on, Jeremiah. Let's do this. Let's do this, man. We got to do this. Okay, here we go. We're in the zone, y'all. We're in the zone. Let's knock this down. Let's knock this down. As you see in the book of Jeremiah, verse 1, he just tells Jeremiah, listen, I called you to be a prophet. He said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. You've heard this verse 1,000 times. You've heard this stuff. But here we go. A prophet hears the scriptures differently than a pastor. Please, if you don't understand anything I said today, understand that he's not a pastor. Prophets hear things differently. They see certain things in the scripture differently that a pastor doesn't see. That's why the fivefold ministry of Ephesians 4:11 is so important. You're trying to roll all this stuff up in one and make it all one. No, those things are distinct for a reason. the pastor, the prophet, the apostle, the prophet, the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist, and all those five things are for a reason. They are very serious reasons they are. So here, Jeremiah, he's called to be a prophet. So whether you believe in a prophet or not, see, this is how he called him. And he said, do not say I'm a youth. We got that part. Then he says to him, I set you over nations. And he says, in verse 7, but the Lord said to me, do not say that I'm a youth, for I shall go to all them you shall go to all to whom I send you. Okay. That's where we get the sent part. The man doesn't want to do the job. He doesn't want to go. He's finding excuses, just like Moses. Moses was a prophet, didn't want to do the thing. That's another thing you guys understand. Prophet, no, please understand, a prophet, I can get on here every day if I want to and say the same message over and over and over and over, and it's going to be redundant and redundant. That's what Jeremiah did for 40 years. You're not understanding. He did it for 40 years. Moses kept going back to Pharaoh with the same message because the people hadn't obeyed God. So I could do that, but I'm trying to move it in a way that you can kind of move and get an understanding. So he says, for you shall go wherever I send you, and whatever I command you, you shall speak. He's telling him he doesn't have a choice. You must say what I said say. Even though you're trying to reject it. He said, do not be afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you. This is another thing that makes a prophet, that makes me a prophet. I can't worry about what you think. In your head, I've just offended you. I'm not trying to offend you. That's the call of a prophet. Don't you see why the world is like it is? Pastors will listen to you and sob with you and rub the members' head and listen to their stories. Prophets don't do that. We don't have the time to do that kind of thing. We got to say exactly what the Lord says. It's going to, number one, it's going to sound offensive to you. That's real easy for a prophet to do. He's going to sound offensive. Okay, you need to understand that. And the next thing you know, he's going to go, and he told Jeremiah to do this twice. He reminded him, listen, let me tell you, Ken. Don't worry about their faces. What did he say? He said it in verse 8. He said that against the wicked because they're forsaken. Prepare yourself. Okay, verse 17 he says, therefore prepare yourself and arise and speak to them all that I've commanded you. Do not be dismayed before their faces, lest I dismay you before them. He's telling the prophet something. He's warning him. If I get on here and I say I'm a prophet, don't you know I'm expecting you to reject me? I'm supposed to, see, now you're going to come up with videos on prophets. Now, because you didn't know what a prophet was, you haven't done videos. I've watched all your videos, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be anything. But I waited. God deliberately held me back because you don't have videos out here on prophets, our person claiming to be a prophet, and why he's a prophet. Okay, so now you got to go back and do your little research and all these things got to pop up. And a prophet, no, a prophet is this. A prophet is known for his courage to tell people the truth and know he's going to be rejected. That's what Jeremiah did. So when you call and say, well, no, you're a false prophet, that's not a surprise to me. I'm going to try to get to this even quicker. He knows he's going to be rejected already. And God is going to prepare him. He says, prepare yourself. I know that when I get on here and say that, I'm doing this on purpose because God has sent me to say this. So we can get out of this confusion of thinking that you're going to call somebody a name. He already knows, prophets know that already, that you're going to say that. So only God can call a prophet or give someone a title of a prophet. And you talk about some people that talk about the church and the church Presbyterian. There's just some people that certain types of prophets. You get these people out of church who hadn't been to school, hadn't studied anything, just throwing out names. People that comment sometimes are good people, but they don't really know what's going on. Like I say, most people that say they're no prophets, they haven't been called to be one. You haven't been called. So you're saying things that you've been taught in some Bible class by your pastor, your bishop. Bishop doesn't know. Let me repeat myself. Bishop doesn't know. He's probably a very good man. I guarantee you he is. He's probably a very good man. You've been there 400 years. You grew up at that church. Your mother, but he does not know. I'm going to get through this. So you expect the criticism. Prophet's not moved by all of that. He's maybe very eccentric. I'm going to say some things that I said all the time. People say, did he just say what I think he just said? I did. I don't take it back. because somebody say, I don't like him. Okay, well, you got to know, nobody likes anybody. You talk about whoever we want to talk about. We criticize whoever we want to criticize. We already know this. This is something everybody knows. People are going to talk about you whether you're right or you're wrong. Come on. But that prophet is going to remain right there, just like Jeremiah. He's going to keep saying that message. Moses kept going back. So he's not going to move. I'm not going to move. If I said I'm a prophet, okay, so you don't like it, okay, but I'm not going to change it because you said that. A prophet is known to have the courage to say. Now you go do some more research. I'm not going to stay here and hold nobody's hand and teach them what a prophet is throughout this whole video. I've said enough, actually. I'll say this last part. He's eccentric. People have called me eccentric. They said, oh, man, eccentric means you're just different. You say things, it make no sense. Person's unpredictable. He's strange. He seems like I'm cold. I don't care. I get that all the time. You talk too hard. You need to say things and different. Prophets don't beat around the bush, honey. We come straight at it. So most of you are going to come back with, whatever you prophesied. I'm going to come back to that. Let's get one thing at a time. I have no problem with all of that. What have you prophesied? Not a problem. So listen, I've said enough for the one day. I need you to go and you think about that. I said I'm a prophet. Okay, don't think I'm going to take this message down because you said that. I'm not being mean, but if you say you're somebody, then you're going to have to be tested to say that you are. And that's okay, but that's the same with pastors and bishops and everybody else. We have enough corruption and division in the ministry to last us till Jesus comes back. And we know that even right now, that's Bible prophecy in and of itself. What I'm able to do as a prophet, when the time comes, I'm going to give you greater detail about it all. I'm going to go into depth and a greater depth of it. So listen, thank you for taking this time out to spend with me. Like a lot of people say, hit the like button. You can share it. You can share it with whoever you like to share it with. I appreciate it. If you subscribe, that's great. But I'm not in it to just impress someone. I've got to just say this because of my obedience to God. Not because I'm so great. I don't deserve to be here. I didn't want the job, but I had no problem telling God to leave me alone. I had no problem with all of that. Okay, listen, thanks again. I'll share another message with you. And I appreciate your listening, but I hope you really learned something from this message. God bless you and take care. Till next time.